So let's begin again this hour, that frightening mystery in a small town in eastern Ontario where parents are being urged to keep small children inside or under close watch. This after an 8-year-old girl was found with severe injuries after going missing in the woods. And while police do suspect an animal attack may be the cause, they say they're still not certain. Quadeville is a quiet village about 2 hours west of Ottawa. That's where the young girl disappeared Monday evening and where search teams made a disturbing discovery hours later. Now investigators are back in the woods. They're trying to figure out what happened. As Nicole Williams tells us, the answers are still far from clear.
Police and wildlife officers searched the woods in Quadeville, Ontario, about 2 hours west of Ottawa. The forest here is dense, but inside is something they suspect is behind a vicious attack.
People are, they're frightened.
That's because an 8-year-old girl went missing on Monday. She had been out with friends, last seen in this area. It prompted a community-wide search. Ontario Provincial Police bringing in search dogs, finally tracking her down in the forest in the early hours of Tuesday. And when they pulled her out, discovered she was seriously hurt.
We're not releasing the specific details of the injuries. They were very traumatic. In the initial stages, they did appear to be life-threatening injuries.
OPP not clear on what did this to the little girl, but suspect she was the victim of an animal attack, issuing a warning to those living nearby, keep a close eye on small children or even have them stay inside.
Could we be being overly cautious? Perhaps. If it was a wild animal, perhaps it's left the area, but we don't know that.
It's alarming, but it's understandable. Anything can happen. If a young girl, young boy goes walking and they don't know where they're going and they get mixed up.
As for the little girl, she was brought to a nearby hospital where she was made stable enough to then be airlifted to the Children's Hospital in Ottawa. The family's pastor with them there while she underwent surgery.
I think it's important for people to know that the doctor did use the word miracle. She did say that it was a miracle that she was alive.
Officials say an investigation into exactly what happened is ongoing. There will be DNA testing to determine if and what kind of animal may have been behind the attack. The residents in this area say they are both extremely relieved that this little girl was found alive, but their minds are far from being put at ease. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Quadeville, Ontario.
Well, let's bring in former RCMP Superintendent Gary Clement. He joins us from Ottawa. Gary, we've talked to you over the years on all kinds of different stories involving policing, but never one like this. I've not heard of a story that, starts with a small kid, a little girl missing in the woods and then seen to be, with life-threatening injuries. And it's still not be clear this number of hours later as to whether it's an animal attack or something else. What do you make of all of this?
Looking at it pragmatically, she's gone to the hospital. The doctors have examined her. So the fact that the officers and the Ministry of Natural Resources are involved in the woods, that suggests to me that they are fairly confident it had to have been an animal attack. Once she got to the hospital, the doctors would be very quick to be able to announce whether it was an attack of an animal or some other weapon, and I don't think that's the case here. The other thing I think we got to put into perspective is when an animal attacks a person, the other concern you have to have, did the animal have rabies? So I'm sure that's why they want to track this animal down for the benefit of the young lady that unfortunately is going through quite a traumatic experience. And so those are the things they're going to look at. But the warning that has been given to watch children and keep them inside kind of suggests to me that they have a fair indication of what it was. They'll want to rule out whether it was a domestic animal or whether it is a wild animal.
And yet that sort of high degree of caution or whatever it is, where the police, even at this point, still not confirming that it was an animal attack. I mean, is that just the way police agencies are, kind of erring on the side of, I don't know, extreme caution in terms of giving out information?
I think they want to be 100% sure before they announce anything, because as you well know, Ian, especially with law enforcement today, if they come out with a statement and find something out later, unfortunately, law enforcement gets criticized to the nth degree. So they're going to be excessively cautious to make sure that when they come forward, they have all the facts. I understand, and I'm sure that's what they're doing. They'll be combing the neighborhood, seeing if there's security cameras on any of the houses. So their investigation will be continuing. But as I said, it just leads me to believe the fact that Ministry of Natural Resources is there. They're combing the woods. That's pretty strong indication it had to have been an animal.
Yeah, I guess one final thing, and in your long policing career, I'm not sure if you ever had encounters with wildlife or officers under your command did. I assume they probably did. But how do you think the OPP is coordinating things with whatever the wildlife agency is at this point in the woods?
Well, they've got tracking dogs, so it's going to be fairly easy unless the animal took off and left the area. The fact is that if the animal happens to be suffering from some sickness, it should be able to be tracked down. So, they should be able to track it. The fact they've got the Ministry of Natural Resources there, I'm sure the ministry is there with their dart guns, that if they find the animal, they can sedate it. So those are the things that they're going to be considering at this time. They have to, and being in law enforcement, they have to be able to run this down in order to announce to the community, the local community and the community at large, that it's safe to move forward with their life.
Yeah, good point. The worst thing that could possibly happen, already a bad thing's happened, but the worst thing would be if there were another attack like this. Gary, always nice talking to you, and who knows what we'll talk to you about next, but appreciate your expertise on all of these things. Gary Clement, a former RCMP superintendent. Thanks.